Rev up your engines! No, I just didn't buy a Subaru Outback. If you've been following me, you know I'm not a big Subaru fan, but I have customers with Subarus that are pretty happy with them. So I'm going to show you what they like about them and why they bought them. Now this is a 14-year-old Outback, the fancy LL Bean edition. My customer that owns this is a university professor and he doesn't drive all that much. It's 14 years old, but he's only got 60,000 miles on it. It's rather roomy inside. This has the leather seats, set up pretty good. Back's got a reasonable amount of room. And so does the trunk. It's got the cool hider so people can't see what you have hiding in the trunk. And this particular one has a 6-cylinder boxer engine like a Porsche 911. Now this is a normally aspirated boxer engine, 3 cylinders on each side, and it puts out a pretty good 250 horsepower. Now as such, it's pretty much a gas hog in town. It gets about 16 miles a gallon, this particular one in town. But as I said, my customer, he's a professor. He doesn't drive much. He doesn't really care that much about gas mileage. Since he's only averaging about 4,000 miles a year, the gas mileage isn't that big of a deal to him. That's another reason that he's mainly happy with this vehicle. You put low mileage on one, they can last quite some time. Sure, the boxer engines are notorious for blowing head gaskets, but they generally don't do that till they get older, 100-something thousand miles. He's only got 60,000 miles on it, so if you're not driving that many miles, a Subaru may not be a bad idea to get. And the same thing goes for his choice of transmission. He's got an automatic. I advise people, they want to buy a Subaru, get a standard because they last a lot longer. They have relatively weak automatic transmissions. He doesn't drive like a maniac. He hasn't burned the transmission out. It still shifts quite fine. I'll give you an example for my customers of where it's the wrong car. I had a customer, came from Africa. He claimed that he was a son of some senator and he came to Houston to go to school because they have problems with people kidnapping their kids so they won't run for re-election. So he was here in Houston. His father had given him $5,000 to buy a used car and he bought one of these 6-cylinder engines with an automatic transmission. And he bought it from an elderly man who obviously drove it slow. Well, in 9 months, that guy destroyed both the engine and the transmission. Realize the top speed of this baby is 140 miles an hour. So I asked the kid, are you driving this thing fast? He says, oh yeah, I'm always driving it over 100 miles an hour when I'm driving up to Dallas. But he had diplomat tags on the things. So he got away with a lot of that stuff. But he didn't get away with destroying the engine and the transmission. When he came back 9 months later, the engine was clanging like mad, the transmission was slipping like mad, so he destroyed it. You can't beat one of these things when they get old. Because being a Japanese-built vehicle, they're still pretty well built, even though I don't like Subarus. So even if you get an old one that's 14 years old, it may still go 140 miles an hour. But it'll only do it for a short period of time until something then blows up. Now being a Subaru, this baby's all-wheel drive. All the wheels drive it. So they're fantastic vehicles in the snow or the sand. There's a rear differential. You got your CV shafts going to both sides, left and right. And we go to the front of the car. We got the drive shafts back in there, on the right, on the left too. So all 4 wheels are driven wheels. And as much as I'm not a big Subaru fan, they really do make good all-wheel drive systems. They've been basically making them longer than most people have. They have them pretty much perfected. If you really got to have an all-wheel drive vehicle, you might think Subaru. But these boxer engines, especially the 6-cylinder ones, the others are 4 like a Volkswagen, this is 6 like a Porsche 911. They are cows to work on. Let me tell you. Look at this, there's a little working room between the side of the fender and the engine on both sides. You can barely get your hands in it or do any work. Now he's been lucky with this one, but a lot of my customers with Subarus, I got to replace the air conditioning compressors. They put relatively weak air conditioning compressors. Now if you live up north in Detroit or something, you may not care all that much about it. But down here in Texas, people want good air conditioning systems. When I moved down here in 1979, there were quite a few Subaru dealerships around. As time went on, they dwindled and went away, and there was only a couple of them left. They're not that popular in hot areas where it doesn't snow, but they're real popular. Colorado, Alaska, Canada, places where there's a lot of snow. The 4-wheel drive does come in handy, and this particular one being the LL Bean Fancy Package, and it really handles quite well, especially if it's raining or something with the all-wheel drive. You're not going to have any slipping. I rented one of these things years ago when I went to Yosemite, and they were having all kinds of rainstorm. I'm driving through the mountains, and I thought, man, this thing really doesn't slip on these wet mountain roads. And then I looked, and of course it was all-wheel drive, and that all-wheel drive made a big difference. They do handle quite well. The beef that most of my other customers have with the Subarus is that they wouldn't get out of their own way with a little bitty 4-cylinder boxer engine. It's one of the reasons they put these 6-cylinder ones in that put out a ton more horsepower, have a bunch more torque. They're actually pretty zippy vehicles, but at the same time, they're pretty much gas hogs in town. And on a highway, this guy gets like 22 miles a gallon, which is really no great shakes either. And it too has a big luggage rack on the top. If you can't fit all your crap in all the space inside, you can throw it on the top. Now sure, there's no way one of these Subarus is going to last as long as a Toyota 4Runner, but you can get these Subarus a lot cheaper new and tons cheaper used. And really, just like Volvos, the newer ones, hey, they're a lot more stylish than the old ugly ones were. And with front and rear disc brakes and fancy rims, these things stop quite well. And this is no lightweight vehicle. This baby weighs 3,500 pounds. So it's a solid built vehicle. It's another reason it doesn't get such hot gas miles. But if you want a safe, solid built vehicle, hey, if you don't drive that many miles, this could be a good choice for you. So now you know a little bit more about a Subaru Outback wagon and why it might not be a bad idea for you to buy one, especially if you can get a used one like this with low mileage at a decent price. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.